Hello, I'm stood here in front of St Mary's Church in Nantwich. This is, of course, Cheshire by the book, and we're going to see more of this church and more of other sites around Nantwich as suggested by Ron Scholes in his book Towns and Villages of Britain Cheshire. Hope you enjoy. In this episode, we see half-timbered buildings, a bunch of bridges, and I shockingly visit a pub. The book introduces Nantwich as such. The town is intersected by the River Weaver as it flows north to join the Mersey. It then covers in more extent that historically there was no Roman settlement here, but there was a Roman road here, and in the museum there was a lead bowl used in Roman salt works, which suggests the presence of more than road, but perhaps it was just a thoroughfare. My journey through Nantwich started at its small train station. I walked into town passing through some old terraced housing and into the town square. Half-timbered buildings lay everywhere. In sight, my first stop, the Church of St Mary, was built mostly in the 14th and 15th centuries. There was a chapel of which Malbank under Acton in town in 1130. Later, it became a chapel of ease to Acton and remained so until the 17th century. Standing impressively in the centre of town, it is basically of the 14th century. Its splendid octagonal tower is borne on four great pillars between the nave and chancel. The book goes on to explain more of the inside of the church, which I can't show you, so I won't elaborate further, and then pops back to the outside for one brief sentence. The outside of the church has crocketed gables and pinnacles and open-work parapets. I have no idea what any of that is. Once the museum was open, I journeyed inside. The book and museum both delve further into Nantwich's history, including Civil War action and Elizabethan-era fires. It also delves further into the salt extraction through the ages. Though I love history, orations aren't what this series is about. It's all about the visuals. What of Nantwich's interesting features does this book highlight, and then I seek them out to show you. I also seek out little features that the book does not highlight and show you those as well. And so on that vein, just outside the museum was a stocks, next to a chippy, and if that doesn't scream historical accuracy, I don't know what would. After the museum, I journey through town, experiencing everything else I can from the book. The Crown Hotel is mentioned. The Grade 1 listed Crown Hotel in High Street was rebuilt soon after the fire of 1438. It is 3 stories high with an impressive front of timber framing. Next up was a walk to Hospital Street and to the strongly mentioned Church's Mansion. The book says, Church's Mansion is a Grade 1 listed building. This is an outstanding piece of decorated half-timbered architecture, built in 1577. It has 2 gabled ends with a central part containing a hall and a porch with 3 to 5 light mullioned and transcend windows. This splendid merchant's house was, until 1998, a restaurant. Other buildings were highlighted in this section, though I didn't like to film anything I thought was a residence too closely due to privacy reasons. I circle back to journey down Welsh Row, and as the book describes it, Welsh Row was called Frog Row in medieval times, and later named after the Welsh traders' pack-horse trains carrying away salt. Among the buildings of interest, the Tolmash almshouses were built in 1878. The early Georgian Townwell House is now an antique shop, and the Cheshire Cat pub was formerly almshouses of 1675. I stopped for lunch at the Cheshire Cat. It was an interesting mix of low-ceiling, cosy old pub and more modern furniture and artwork that I generally enjoyed. I had a pint of Cheshire Cat beer and a Cuban sandwich which I'd give a 10 out of 10. The door frames were low, causing me to bang my head on the way out. Thankfully not on film, but I did record this as a reference. Last on my to-do list was to find a park. I couldn't find a central park with my 3 criteria rating, and instead of altering the rule, I just didn't enter Nantwich into the running. However, it did have a great riverside walk that crisscrossed the meandering Weaver multiple times. And also had some lovely little sights to see along the way, like this waterfall. With plenty of trees and open space on the flanks, it makes for a great substitute for a traditional park. Eventually, I came out onto Nantwich Lake and I cut back through town to the train station so I could go home. Nantwich is a lovely little town with a rich history that is well worth a visit, if only for the countless examples of striking old architecture. Despite its good looks, the town doesn't have that same gaudy Cheshire aura that Knutsford gave off, though perhaps it was all the maintenance work that was going on in the centre. I think it's definitely a step towards showing a more realistic and grounded version of Cheshire, a Cheshire that knows and is proud of its deep historic importance to England and the UK as a whole through its salt mines and geographical location. Not all of this history is good history, though, and while this isn't a history specific series, it will definitely come up in later episodes, especially once we visit some of Cheshire's castles. And with that, like and subscribe if you want more, and keep on questing.